स्वागत है एक और नए वीडियो में। तो in this today's video we will be covering about the partitioner types in Kafka. So just a small overview. This will be a interview perspective video. We are not going to do any sort of demo, or you can say like any sort of code in this video. This is most important like for interview perspective. If you have written Kafka in your resume, they might ask you this kind of questions. So let's start the video. In Apache Kafka, partitioning is a key concept to ensure the scalability and parallelism of message processing. Partitions are the unit of parallelism, and they allow Kafka to distribute and parallelize the process of messaging across multiple brokers and consumers. Kafka produces a default partitionary stationary strategy, but you can also implement custom partitioners to suit specific use case. Here are the main types of partitioners in Kafka. Default partitioner. क्या org.apache.kafka.client.producer.internal.default partition. This is the default partitioning strategy used by Kafka if no custom partitioner is specified. It uses a hash function to map keys to partition. Message with the same key will always go to the same partition, ensuring order within the partition. The partition is chosen based on the hash code of the key and is then normalized to ensure it within the range of available partitions for the topic. समझो तो यार ये क्या है ना, ये हैश डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन सिनैप्स के जैसा है। हैश डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन इन सिनैप्स में पढ़ा ना, हम लोगों ने पढ़ा था। सिमिलर वही अप्रोच इस्तेमाल कर रहा है यहाँ पे। ठीक आपका रॉबिन हुड पार्टिशनर। रॉबिन हुड जानते ही होंगे, हाँ था रॉबिन हुड, तीसमार खान देखा होगा पिक्चर, उसकी बात नहीं कर रहे। रॉबिन हुड नहीं है, राउंड रॉबिन पार्टीशनर है। राउंड रॉबिन टेबल का टाइप होता है, सिनैप्स को पता है ना, बाय डिफॉल्ट राउंड रॉबिन यूज होता है। तो वही चीज है यहाँ पे भी। यहाँ पे क्या होगा, दिस पार्टीशन असाइन partitions in a round robin fashion, cycling through available partitions sequentially. It provides a simple load balancing mechanism, but it does not take into account the key of the message. The partitioner is more suitable for scenarios where messages does not have a clear key based ordering requirement. Custom partitions क्या होता है? You can implement your own partitioning logic by extending the org.apache.kafka.clients.producer.partition interface. Custom partitioner allows you to define a strategy for assigning messages to partitions based on your application requirements. For example, you might want to implement a custom partitioner that sends message with a certain keys to specific partitions to optimize data locality. Choose the partition based on your specific requirements, taking into consideration ordering, load balancing, and any other constraints your applications may have. Custom partitions custom partitions offer the most flexibility but require careful design to maintain the desired characteristics of a data distribution. तो ये था हमारा काफका सीरीज को एंड करते हैं। अगले वीडियो से स्टार्ट करेंगे हम लोग हाइव का, और फिर कवर करेंगे HBase, हडूप। हडूप बहुत सिंपल टॉपिक है, मतलब बहुत हडूप पे कुछ कमांड्स होंगे और कुछ थ्योरी होगी जो हम लोग कवर करेंगे, तो वो कवर कर लेंगे। हडूप जल्दी कवर हो जाएगा। फिर हाइव और HBase कवर करेंगे गाइस। और एक एयरफ्लो। अब एयरफ्लो में जनरली आप पेड कोर्स लोगे, एयरफ्लो का तो आपको पुराना वर्जन मिलेगा, बट this time we are going to cover a new version. गाइस न्यू वर्जन कवर करेंगे, लेटेस्ट वर्जन पे काम करेंगे एयरफ्लो में। एयरफ्लो बहुत डिफिकल्ट टॉपिक है, बहुत लोगों को समझ में नहीं आता, क्योंकि यार एयरफ्लो ढंग से बहुत लोग नहीं पढ़ाते, तो आपको समझ में नहीं आएगा। इसीलिए मैं एयरफ्लो को धीरे धीरे लेके चलूंगा। एयरफ्लो एक अच्छे टॉपिक है। क्या आपको रिज्यूमे में लिखना चाहिए? यू कैन और यू मे नॉट, सिंपल, डिपेंड्स अपॉन लाइक इफ आई एम एज डाटा इंजीनियर आई विल नॉट mention in airflow. I can omit the airflow in my resume because I can say like I was working with Databricks and Data Factory. Data Factory already have a feature of scheduling, so why should I go with airflow? ठीक है, बैच प्रोसेसिंग है। ठीक है, एयरफ्लो में क्या होता है ना, एयरफ्लो में जॉब बना सकते हैं, शेड्यूल कर सकते हैं। गाइस बोल सकते हो यार मैं तो डेटा फैक्ट्री इस्तेमाल करता था, या फिर तुम ये बोल सकते हो एयरफ्लो यार हमारा टीम इस्तेमाल ही नहीं करते थे, बाजू वाला टीम करते थे, हम तो सिर्फ डेटाबेस में यार नोटबुक क्रिएट करते थे या फिर स्पार्क में काम करते थे। दैट कैन यू कैन टोटली मेंशन। सो बट यू कैन से लाइक स्कूप भी मैं ओपन कर सकता हूँ गाइस, यार स्कूप भी ओपन कर सकते हो, बट द ओनली थिंग है स्कूप इज वेरी इजी, सो आई वुड नॉट सजेस्ट यू टू ओपन, लाइक यू कैन कीप इट। और एंड इफ दे आर आस्क्ड the questions, you can say like I have experience in scoop, but current project I'm not using this scoop, I'm using the Azure Data Factory only, like for these kind of, because Data Factory is an alternative of scoop. Data Factory is somewhat the alternative of Airflow as well. And if you talk about Spark, in Azure we are using the Azure Databricks, so we can use that to write the Spark code. And what is the alternative of Hive or HBase? Hive and HBase, guys, Hive, you can say the alternative is Synapse, because Synapse is a data warehouse Unix. Somewhere, what if I talk about the what is the structure behind that? Structure is like we have some files, or you can say batch processing files, CSV file, semi-structured file that will be coming inside your on-premises, or it can be come into an Azure Blob Storage. If it's coming in on-premises, I have to move it to Azure Blob Storage. For this, I need a data factory and some SIS packages kind of stuff. SIS instead of Azure Integration Runtime, I will be using the self-hosted runtime, and then I will move that file to our Azure Blob Storage. Once it is moved to Azure Blob Storage, I need a data factory pipeline which will be helpful for and Databricks notebooks, which will be used to read the file which is available in our Azure Blob Storage, and then we have to move it to somewhere like once in it can we can move it to Delta, convert it to Delta format, and we have to move it to raw and refined location, and the other the source file can be moved into some uh, archive location. Archive location, we have two types of archive location: cold and hot. So what if you are doing a frequent use of like the archive, we can go with the hot, but थोड़ा प्राइस ज्यादा है. Cold के लिए use करोगे ना तो cold, infrequent use of archive files, so you can go with code. So code is preferable. And Databricks, like you are creating a notebook, like basically you are using a Spark job. So why we are using data factory? Can't we directly use a Databricks notebook? And if we are directly querying from the Azure Blob Storage, yeah, you can do that. But the only thing is, like, if you want to read the schema as well, and so in that case you will be saving your schema in Subword and SQL Server, and you need something like data factory to read that schema and convert it to JSON, and then send it back to a notebook, say notebook activity. So that's the reason you are doing. If your file already have a schema, you don't want to use that schema that is in SQL, then you can directly create a notebook. But we are creating a scenario where this schema is also not there in the file. Second thing, if you are using a if you are creating your own schema, then it's most fast as compared to reading a schema from the file. Seriously, in for a schema. So these are the simple small things that is required in case of Ingress for framework and that kind of stuff. Once the file is available in the Delta format, you can use a Synapse, can create a Synapse data factory pipeline, which will be responsible for moving the data to Synapse. That's a simple structure of an Ingress framework. Ingress means Azure on-premises to Azure Blob. So Synapse is a data warehouse using Hive is also a data warehouse. So which one is preferred? If you are generally most of the scenarios, like now we are using the Azure Synapse. These are the new trends, so we are using that. And Hive is also used most of the cases. It depends upon your project and project to project, like, and management choose what. तो मैं अगले वीडियो में मिलता हूँ. बहुत सारा चीजें बात कर ली. काफा को एंड करते हैं. अगले वीडियो में मिलते हैं.